The screen opens to darkness. The distant rumble of artillery echoes like a storm trapped under the earth, building slowly, shaking the air with a threat that feels personal. A faint glow emerges, the light of dawn breaking over a battlefield, soaked in fog and tension. A narrator speaks in a low, deliberate voice. May 10th, 1796. Northern Italy, a place where fate tightens its grip on a young general who has everything to prove and everything to lose. The fog thickens, swirling like restless ghosts drifting over muddy ground. Boots crunch faintly. Horses snort nervously. Bayonets glint like shards of cold metal teeth. This, the voice continues, is the day Napoleon Bonaparte walks into his reckoning. A figure materializes through the hazelender, sharp-eyed, the blue and white of his uniform muted by moisture. Napoleon himself, 26 years old. Unproven. Doubted. Hunted by failure. Before this day, the narrator whispers, he was just another ambitious commander. After this day, he becomes something far more dangerous. The camera rises, revealing the town of Lodi at dawn. Quiet, eerily untouched, its rooftops catching the first light of morning. But the peace is a lie. Every street hides tension. Every shadow conceals fear. Beyond the town, across the Adda River, the Austrian army waits, experienced, entrenched, and confident. Their cannons are already positioned on the far bank, aimed directly at the bridge of Lodi, the only crossing point Napoleon can use. The wooden planks stretch over the water like a gauntlet. A narrow, exposed path. A death corridor. The narrator continues. This bridge wasn't just wood and iron, it was a trap, a killing ground, a nightmare waiting to break open. French soldiers stumble into position, their faces drawn and sleep-starved from days of marching and fighting. The air hums with the quiet dread of men trying not to show they're afraid. General Berthier rides up beside Napoleon. The Austrians are ready. They want us to come across. Napoleon doesn't answer. He simply stares at the bridge, the river below rushing like a warning. Then, distant thunder. No, not thunder, cannon fire. The first Austrian shot screams across the river and slams into the French lines, sending mud and splinters flying. Soldiers duck, some cry out, others grip their muskets tighter. The narrator's voice sharpens. At that moment, Napoleon realized something every great commander eventually facing war doesn't wait for courage, it demands it. Cannon blasts erupt in a violent rhythm. The Austrians unleash hellfire onto the French side. The bridge shakes with each impact. Smoke curls upward like the breath of something monstrous. Napoleon rides forward, dangerously close to the front line. His officers shout for him to stay back, but he ignores them. I must see everything, SIS simply, the narrator adds, and he must be seen. If courage has a face, his men must believe it belongs to him. The battlefield becomes chaos. Cannonballs tear into the earth, splintering carts and shattering formations. Musket fire rattles like an unbroken chain. The river churns wildly, its waters catching fragments of broken wood and broken bodies. The French army, the narrator explains, was exhausted, outnumbered, outgunned. And the enemy held the perfect position on the opposite bank. The camera cuts to the Austrian side. Their lines are calm, organized, confident. Their cannons sit in a long row. Shadows cast like dark fingers pointing toward the bridge. Officers shout commands, their voices steady. The Austrians believed Napoleon would never dare charge across that bridge, the narrator says. No sane commander would. Napoleon watches the slaughter for a moment, then speaks 3 words that freeze the air. We take it. His officers turn to him, stunned. The bridge, sir. He nods. We storm it, the narrator whispers. And with that order, a nightmare begins. Volley after volley slams into the bridge. The wooden planks shudder violently. Smoke curls upward like the breath of something monstrous. Napoleon rides forward, dangerously close to the front line. His officers shout for him to stay back, but he ignores them. "I must see everything," he says. Simply, the narrator adds, "and he must be seen. If courage has a face, his men must believe it belongs to him." The battlefield becomes chaos. Cannonballs tear into the earth, splintering carts and shattering formations. Musket fire rattles like an unbroken chain. The river churns wildly, its waters catching fragments of broken wood and broken bodies. The French army, the narrator explains, was exhausted, outnumbered, outgunned, and the enemy held the perfect position on the opposite bank. The camera cuts to the Austrian side. Their lines are calm, organized, confident. Their cannons sit in a long row, shadows cast like dark fingers pointing toward the bridge. Officers shout commands, their voices steady. The Austrians believed Napoleon would never dare charge across that bridge, the narrator says. No sane commander would. Napoleon watches the slaughter for a moment, then speaks 3 words that freeze the air. "We take it." His officers turn to him, stunned. "The bridge, sir." He nods. "We storm it," the narrator whispers. And with that order, a nightmare begins. Volley after volley slams into the bridge. The wooden planks shudder violently. Smoke blankets the far bank. But through the haze, Austrian cannon muzzles flash like lightning. Every second, another French soldier falls. Napoleon's grenadiers' most fearless men assemble at the foot of the bridge. Their faces are pale but determined. They know what's coming. They know what it means. Napoleon rides up to them, his voice powerful and strangely calm. "Soldiers," he says, "on the other side of that bridge stands your victory, your glory, your future." A cannon blast hits nearby, knocking 2 men off their feet. He doesn't flinch. "Follow me," he says, "and France will never forget your names." The grenadiers let out a shaky but passionate cheer. The narrator remarks, "In that moment, he wasn't a general. He was a force, a spark lighting everything around him." The drumbeat begins slow, deep, foreboding. The French advance. They surged onto the bridge in tight formation. Muskets raised, bayonets gleaming. The Austrians react instantly. Their cannons fire point blank, turning the bridge into a furnace of smoke and shattered wood. Men are torn apart. Some are thrown backward, some forward. The grenadiers keep going. The bridge becomes slick with blood. Smoke blinds them. Fire scorches them. Every step, the narrator says, was a step toward death. Napoleon pushes forward on horseback until the cannon fire forces him to dismount. Musket balls snap past his face like angry insects. He stands behind the advancing troops, pushing them, urging them, shouting over the deafening blasts. The French advance slows. Fear grips them. They huddle behind the railing, pinned down by relentless fire. If they stop now, the narrator warns, it's over. Not just the battle but Napoleon's campaign. His future, his legend. Napoleon refuses to let the advance die. He orders the cannon crews forward, dragging their guns dangerously close to the bridge under direct Austrian fire. The crews sprint, bodies low, pushing the heavy artillery with trembling arms. Shells explode around them. One cannon team is wiped out instantly. Another continues, dragging their gun into position. "Load!" the officer screams. "Fire!" The French cannon blasts back at the Austrian line so close, the Austrians flinch. For the first time, the French have teeth. Napoleon seizes the moment. Forward, he roars. The grenadiers surge again, screaming this time not just in bravery but in defiance of the death surrounding them. The Austrians unleash a new barrage. Grape shot hundreds of steel balls per shot shreds through the French ranks. Men fall in waves. Smoke turns the world into a blur of fire and screams. This wasn't a battle, the narrator whispers. It was a reckoning. Napoleon charges onto the bridge himself, sword raised, shouting for his men to follow. His presence sends a jolt through the French line. Officers grab fallen banners and lift them high. Drummers beat faster, louder. The bridge becomes a storm of steel, blood, smoke, and raw desperation. Step by step, inch by inch, the French push forward. The Austrians pour fire into them, but the grenadiers refuse to break. They become something more than soldiers, unstoppable, unyielding, furious. The narrator says, "Courage is contagious, but so is fear." The Austrians begin to see something they didn't expect: French soldiers who will not die quietly. The French reach the midpoint of the bridge. The Austrian fire intensifies almost to madness. But now, something changes. Their shots grow rushed. Their formations tremble. A commander shouts frantically, realizing too late that the French are actually going to make it across. The French charge breaks into a sprint. The grenadiers scream like men possessed. Bayonets lower, boots thunder. The Austrians panic. A desperate attempt to fire one more volley becomes chaos. Some shots hit, many miss. It's too late. The French slam into the Austrian front line with explosive violence. Bayonets clash. Muskets swing like clubs. Men fall screaming into the river. The battlefield erupts into brutal hand-to-hand combat. This, the narrator says, is the moment Napoleon earns a word that will follow him for the rest of his life. Unstoppable. The Austrians break. Their line collapses. Panic spreads faster than orders can contain it. They flee toward Lodi, abandoning cannons, wagons, even wounded comrades. Napoleon's troops pour across the bridge, fanning out onto the far bank like a flood that cannot be held back. Victory explodes through the French ranks' cries of triumph, disbelief, relief, rage. Released at last, Napoleon stands in the smoke, chest heaving, eyes blazing with something fierce and new. The narrator continues. He had stared into the jaws of annihilation, and instead of being consumed, he forced the jaws open. But the victory has a cost. The bridge behind him is littered with the bodies of men who trusted him. The river below carries away shattered weapons, broken wood, and silent forms drifting downstream. Napoleon walks slowly along the bridge, his boots splashing in bloodied water. The cheers fade. The drums quiet. His officers watch him, waiting for words. He says, "None." The narrator observes. In that silence, he understood the truth. Greatness demands sacrifice, and sometimes it demands nightmares. Night falls. Campfires flicker across the dark field. The wounded moan softly. The river whispers below. Napoleon stands alone, gazing at the stars. His face is unreadable, part pride, part horror, part hunger for something he cannot yet name. After Lodi, the narrator concludes, Napoleon believed he was destined for greatness, and his men believed it too. A final image appears. The bridge of Lodi at dusk, smoke drifting across its surface like lingering spirits of the fallen. But destiny, the narrator whispers, always collects its debt. Darkness closes over the battlefield. The cannons are silent now, but the memory of Loditha, fear, the fire, the reckoning echoes. Forever.